Whether it was the American forces' attack on Libya in 1986, Iraq in 2002, or Syria in 2014, the United States has attempted to change the destiny of the Middle East whenever it desired. However, there is one country that has remained beyond their control for several decades: Iran. Even today, the US and Israel are searching for cracks in the Iranian fortress, which will not be an easy task. History bears witness that for the last 600 years, not a single inch of Iran's borders has shifted from its place, whether the invaders were Romans, Arabs, Turks, Russians, or even the British Empire. Iran has repeatedly proven that it possesses the strength to withstand even the largest of invasions. But what is the actual secret behind this power? What is it that makes Iran completely different and more resilient than other Arab countries? Welcome once again to the videos of Versus TV. Viewers, let's first talk about the gift that Iran has received from nature. If Iran were to be understood in a single sentence, it is a massive fortress. A fortress whose walls were not built by humans but by nature itself. The country is surrounded on all sides by mountains. The Zagros mountain range in the south acts as a wall against enemies approaching from the southern direction. Towards the southwest, these Zagros mountains gradually slope toward Iraq, but toward the northwest they become so rugged and high that they form an impossible border with Turkey. Where there are no mountains, there are marshy areas. Particularly where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers meet, these marshlands act as a natural barrier, much like a deep moat in front of a castle. That covers the borders with Iraq and Turkey. Turning toward the north, where the Caspian Sea and Azerbaijan are located, the Alborz mountain range stands guard. Looking toward the east, smaller mountain ranges wrap around Iran like a ribbon, forming the borders with Afghanistan and Pakistan. In other words, these mountains have secured Iran on all sides like a fortress, while the Persian Gulf in the south serves as the final wall of this stronghold. If someone attempts to invade from the Persian Gulf, they are met with mountains up to 1.5 kilometers high that stretch nearly 250 kilometers inland. Geographical location plays a vital role in the occupation of any country. Similar natural mountain ranges have kept Afghanistan secure to this day, whether the enemy was the Soviet Union or the United States. Likewise, these mountains are so crucial to Iran's safety that every attempt to conquer Iran over the last 600 years has failed. Moving beyond the borders to the interior, there are two vast deserts, the Dashti Kavir and Dashti Lut. These are so barren that people are forced to live in the mountainous regions. Most of Iran's total population of 90 million resides in these hilly areas. This is why entering Iran and controlling it has always been a nightmare for any foreign army. For enemies coming by land, logistics challenges arise on one hand, while on the other, narrow supply lines, constricted paths, and harsh weather create constant new difficulties. But there is another side to this story. These same mountain ranges that protect Iran also imprison it. Looking at history, whenever Iran has tried to expand westward, these same mountain ranges have become a major obstacle for them as well. This is why, to maintain a presence in its south and west, Iran does not engage in direct warfare but has instead built a network of Shia proxy groups, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, and Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Palestine. That was the benefit of Iran's geography. Now, let's turn to the Strait of Hormuz. As I mentioned in a previous video, the Strait of Hormuz holds immense strategic value for Iran. Here you can see that the entire northern part of the Persian Gulf from beginning to end belongs solely to Iran, while the lower part is shared by 7 countries: Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and Oman. The entrance to the Persian Gulf is called the Strait of Hormuz. To its north lies only the Iranian coastline, while to the south is a small portion of Oman. On the Iranian side of Hormuz, a V-shape is formed, allowing Iran to better control this section from 3 sides. The lower part, held by Oman, is pointed, features narrow mountainous paths, and extends only 50 kilometers into Hormuz. At this point, it has always been quite easy for Iran to close Hormuz, and now, they have finally utilized this option following US-Israeli strikes. Iran has clearly stated that if any country's ship moves toward Hormuz, it will be destroyed. Through this, they can pressure not only the Gulf countries but the entire world. This is because 20% of the world's oil, 90% of Qatar's LNG, and 5% of the world economy depend on Hormuz. In 2025, the world economy was $120 trillion. If Hormuz closes, $6,000 billion will suddenly vanish. If anyone wishes to occupy or attack Iran, Iran possesses a precious asset in the ability to close Hormuz and put the entire world under pressure. Iran's third advantage is an extremely long coastline. Iran's total perimeter is 8,731 kilometers, of which 2,815 kilometers are maritime coasts on the Caspian Sea and the Persian Gulf. This means 32% of Iran's border is a maritime coastline. And let me tell you, this is no ordinary coast. Normally, a coast is followed by sand, but here there are mountain ranges where Iran has installed missile batteries in secret locations. There are caves and many blind spots that are invisible to satellites or drones. Even if an enemy manages to land on shore from the sea, they immediately face mountains from where sudden attacks can be launched. After geography, the Strait of Hormuz, and a difficult coastline, the third shield protecting Iran from foreign invaders is the diverse ethnic groups living there. How? Iran is a multi-ethnic country. This means it is not inhabited by just one ethnic group. Persians, Azeris, Kurds, Arabs, Balochs, Turkmen, and various other tribes live here. When a country's population is composed of different ethnicities, the biggest challenge is keeping everyone satisfied. Every group wants its own rights and wishes to protect its language and culture. In these mountainous regions, different tribes live with their own languages and cultures, and they have internal conflicts dating back hundreds of years. Certainly, Iran has united everyone under the umbrella of Shia Islam. However, protests are still frequently seen. Recently, protests that began in December 2025 are continuing to this day, in which more than 7,000 people have died. This is the largest protest since the Islamic Revolution of 1979. Controlling all of them and bringing them under one umbrella has always been a difficult task for Iran. Sometimes one group is disgruntled, sometimes another. While this multi-ethnicity is a problem for Iran, it is an even bigger problem for any foreign invader. Anyone thinking of conquering Iran would first have to fight the geography and then manage all the internal people together, which seems like an impossible task. This is why, during the British colonial era when the British ruled the subcontinent, no one could ever make Iran their colony. The US and Israel are well aware of this. This is why President Trump repeatedly says that the people of Iran should overthrow the Islamic regime, because they also know that defeating Iran without the power of its people is nearly impossible. In 1941, the British and Russians occupied the area with the help of the Iranian Shah's son, and the goal was to prevent Nazi forces from making Iran their base during World War II. During that time, various Iranian groups turned against the government, creating a civil war-like situation. Furthermore, while these groups may have internal differences, they are religiously connected. 95% of Iran's population is Shia Muslim. History shows that whenever Iran is attacked from the outside, all these groups unite. In September 1980, when the Iranian Revolution was fresh, Saddam Hussein thought that the Iranian army would be scattered and the system quite weak. With this thought, Iraq attacked with the intention of occupying Iran. But the war that Saddam Hussein had taken lightly lasted for the next 8 years. Initially, the Iraqi army had penetrated deep inside, but within 2 years, Iran reclaimed its land. In this war, not just the Iranian military but ordinary people also participated, coming together under one umbrella and sacrificing their lives. Saddam Hussein hoped that Iran's Arabs would join the Iraqi side, and that the Kurds would cause rioting, causing Iran to collapse from within. But all of Saddam Hussein's hopes were dashed. The groups that had internal differences all united under the banner of Shia Islam during the war, which further strengthened Iranian nationalism. After 8 years of war and 1 million casualties, Iraq was exhausted, and so was Iran. Ultimately, without taking even 1 inch of land, Saddam Hussein had to accept defeat. Iran's most dangerous weapon is not its army, but its size. This country is not a small target that can be captured in a few weeks. It is a strategic labyrinth spread over 1.6 million square kilometers. In other words, 2 countries the size of Pakistan can fit inside it. Even if an army crosses the border, an immediate victory is impossible. They must navigate centuries-old mountain paths, desert plateaus, and reach cities located deep within. This is called the concept of strategic depth. This means the further the enemy penetrates, the longer their supply lines become. The pressure on fuel and logistics increases, and the defenders gain more time. In addition, cities like Tehran, Isfahan, or Mashhad are not on the border but are protected deep inside. By the time an enemy reaches them, they are already exhausted. Thus, it would not be wrong to say that the land of Iran itself is like a silent protector that turns time into its greatest weapon. I hope you will like and share this video from Salvesis TV wholeheartedly. Thank you immensely for your loving comments. See you in the next spectacular video.